Advanced Mold Protection is a monitoring tool that helps you protect the mold from damage. It's based on an envelope curve monitoring. The curve can be finely tuned by the user to detect even the slightest change in the mold behavior. For more info on how to set up an envelope curve, please refer to the Woojin Quality Graph video, where an in-depth explanation of envelope curve setup is shown. In this video, we will focus on explaining how to use the envelope curve for mold protection. The purpose of the advanced mold protection is to monitor the mold movement based on the reference curve the user sets before production. Based on this reference, borders around the curve are also set, which represent an envelope. During the mold movement, if the monitored value steps outside of these envelope borders, the machine enters a protection state. Based on the settings of the protection, the machine will react to avoid any damage to the mold. Let's take a look at few examples now, and see the advanced mold protection in action. If the advanced protection option is enabled, and we try to start automatic production, an alarm will appear to warn us if no reference curve has been set. In this case, we need to go back to manual mode and execute a mold close movement to create a reference. Alternatively, if the use of advanced protection is not required, unchecking the option will enable machine operation without a reference. After generating a reference curve, we can now go into automatic production mode, and as we can see, the mold closes without any interruptions. Let's now observe what would happen if a part got stuck on the fixed platen during production, and the mold attempted to close. Before this, it's important to show a few general mold settings, for better understanding of the following example. The first setting that we need to pay attention to, is number of protection retries. This setting, located on the first tab of the mold page, defines how many times the mold will retry to close, in case mold protection was triggered. In this case it is set to 2. Next, we want to take a look at the 2 highlighted settings, which can be found on the third tab of mold page, under mold settings. The first one defines whether the ejector will be used after mold protection, as well as during retries. Second one determines if the mold will open or stay in the position where mold protection was activated. If retry number is 1 or higher, this setting only affects the last retry. Let's go back to our example, and observe what happens. As soon as torque is detected outside the envelope, the mold stops the forward movement, and moves back. Since retry number is set to 2, the mold tries to close 2 more times. We can also notice that the ejector is moving after each retry, and in the end, the mold stays in the open position. Let's go back to the settings that we explained earlier and adjust them a bit. If we don't want to use the ejector in case mold protection is activated, we can select not to do so by selecting it from this drop-down menu. Let's also say we want the mold to stay in closed position after the last retry. We can also go ahead and lower the number of retries to only 1, by changing the numeric value on the first tab of mold page. Now we are ready to start again, and observe how the changes impact the behavior of the machine. If we pay attention to the moving platen, we can notice there is no ejector movement now. We can see that the machine only retries the closing movement 1 time, as we have said earlier. Also, after the retry, the mold stays in the closed position at the point where the curve goes outside of the envelope. If the part is taken out of the mold, we can see how the curve and the machine behave during normal operation. Keep in mind that the envelope borders can be also manually adjusted, if even a more precise tolerance limits are required by the user. We hope this video tutorial was helpful. If you have any other questions regarding advanced mold protection, please leave a comment below, or contact us directly through our customer service channels. Thank you, and have a nice day.